Oh yeah, it's a Taurus. So thanks for joining us on another one of these review videos. I'm really happy that we've got this model today, a Piko model in the hobby range, and yes, it's a Taurus. So in a previous video I was looking at a G-scale model and it did have a Taurus available in G-scale, and I thought that would be really cool. I've not got that yet, but I do have this HO model and we're going to have a look at it today. So I did get this second hand, but you wouldn't know it from the box. It's looking in very good condition. Some very minor shelf wear to it, but nothing serious at all. Here you can see the Piko catalogue number. It's 57426-5, and you can see it is in fact a Taurus with the OBB livery, so that's the Austrian Railways. Up here it looks as though it's ready for DCC and it has lighting as well. This one I'm pretty sure is just DC, but we'll have a look. Let's get it open and we can check it out. So first out the box is this leaflet here, which tells you about how you can order some catalogues. It's all in German and I don't speak any German, so this is no use for me. I've also got this leaflet, which you can see is new items from 2005. I guess that's when this model came out. And inside there's a whole bunch of tempting stuff which will get you in loads of trouble with whoever owns the purse strings. There's also this additional leaflet which is talking about an E93 locomotive, but if you weren't tempted enough with the last leaflet, then this one is just going to tip you over the edge. So you better start earning your brownie points now so that you can buy some of this stuff. On the back as well, it shows you a starter set, which is ideally suited for somebody younger. And you also have this about a digital controller, which has a remote control a bit like a TV. So that's quite interesting. And here we have some instructions about this locomotive, including how to oil it, a parts list here, and on the back, how to fit a DCC chip to this if you want to. So here we have the model out the box, and doesn't it look just absolutely fantastic? I really love the look of these Taurus locomotives. They look really kind of space age at the front, almost like they've come out of a Star Wars film or something like that. This one is in a real great red colour, and obviously it's got the OBB logo on the side. I chose this one because I was on holiday in Vienna and I remember seeing these locomotives running about and I just thought it looked so cool I would get one eventually myself, and here it is. So let's have a look at this closer up. So here at the front, the profile of the Taurus locomotive is being faithfully reproduced and it looks quite cool in my eyes. It's got this smoke glazing at the top and you can see that some windscreen wipers have been moulded into that. And also very prototypical, the black surround at the bottom here. Inside the cab there is actually some detail and a driver as well, but you can't see that through the smoke glass, but there is one in there. And then down here you have the lighting, very clear and very flush fit. Also the OBB logo and the number of this locomotive, 112-2. Very clear transfers applied there. And then further down in the grey area where you can see the Siemens logo. So looking down the side of the locomotive, there's not actually that much detail on the body, and that's very prototypical. They're very sleek looking locomotives in real life, but you can see a wealth of details down here, the OBB logo and numbers, and that's all been faithfully reproduced there, which is really quite nice, even down to these small little graphics at the front here. The bogie is quite a simple thing. It doesn't have a lot of detail here and there's not much rivet detail or anything like that. And I think there's probably been a bit of a compromise here when they've been moulding this because that isn't that detailed. But I think the fact that the wheels have got printing on them really makes up for that. And as we move further down, there's a door here with some handrails that have been picked out in silver. And then finally, as we move further down the locomotive, you see the large OBB logo and there's still little transfers on the bottom in the grey here. Looking up top, we have a separate grey plastic part up here which has got all the electrical gear on it. We've got these really nice pantographs here. They're very delicate and they're a combination of plastic and metal, and they're sprung loaded as well. Very convincing. I don't think power goes down from here. I don't think you can pick up from the overhead, but they certainly look as though they could be made to do so. We've got other bits and pieces here moulded in plastic, including this part here picked out in a copper colour. And there's a whole wealth of rivet detail and studs on these panels here as we go down. There's a grille here in silver which has been added in. There's another one here on this panel. And here we have the other pantograph. Very similar to the first one, and there's also a little aerial added in there as well. And it is quite cool how it has the indent in the top of the cab here for where the pantograph goes. Looking down below then, we have this snowplow fitted at the front here, along with this coupling in an M pocket which articulates back and forth. Not a huge amount of movement on that, but I think probably just enough to keep coupled up, and it's good that it's in an M pocket. And then as we move down, it's fairly simple here. I think they've scrimped a little bit on the detail on the underside. Obviously, there's been more spent on the roof than underneath, and that's okay in my mind because you've would see that more often. So let's see if we can get this locomotive apart. So this is one of these models which is held together by actually the buffers here, and they should just pull out and hopefully the model will just come apart. So let's give it a go. So once we got the buffers out, that was quite easy to take apart. So I noticed that you just need to push them from behind rather than pull them from the front. And this is quite surprising. It is a hobby model, but yet this is all made of metal and it gives it a good degree of weight as well. So it's quite chunky. At the front here, we've got a simple light bulb and we've got drive to both axles. You can see the shaft in there and the motor is underneath this circuit board. I think that would do sterling work. It's quite a large motor in this model. But you can see that it's been glued in with some kind of resin or something, so it's going to be quite difficult to change that if you need to in the future. So it did mention DCC in the instructions, but I can't see where the socket is on this. And just down here is another cable running out to another light bulb, and you can see that it has pickup from both bogies as well. So it's quite a good model in that respect, and it's also been painted up here as well with a dark grey, which matches onto the body. On the underside of the body you can see here where the bulb fits and the light is transmitted out to the front of the locomotive. And you can also see these parts here, the driver compartments at each end. And here is where these panels on the roof are fitted, along with these little screws here which are holding the pantographs on. So let's get this back together and we'll give it a run. Okay, we're on the test track, so I'll give it some power and see what happens. So unsurprisingly, this model runs absolutely perfectly. It's a little bit noisy, but it's not too bad, and it's certainly very smooth. You probably noticed as I was showing you this close up that this model is super clean. Like I said, I did buy it second hand, but I don't think this has actually been out the box before. So let's find out how much this weighs. So this model weighs 446 grams. So some of the things I like about this model is obviously the design of it. I'm a real fan of the real-life Taurus locomotive. I think it looks really stylish and this model really captures that perfectly. The sides of the model are very plain and there's no decoration there, but yet it's still got a lot of character, and that character is mostly around the front of the locomotive with it looks straight out of a science fiction movie. Even though this is a hobby model, it's got a lot of great features on it. The metal chassis is obviously a big benefit, and it's got that motor which will run really well. And also there's been a lot of attention to the roof, a lot of extra parts added on there. Pantographs as well are really good. And because that's what you'll mostly see on your model railway, I think that's been money well spent there. The glazing as well is also really good. It's flush fit and it has that smoked effect just as the real thing does. And even the lights at the front as well are flush fit and look really good. There's a couple of small niggly things on this. Obviously the windows are smoked, but they're possibly smoked a little bit too much because you can't see the interior in this model, or even the fact that it's got a driver. And I think some compromises have been made down on the bogies and on the underframe because it's not quite as detailed as it could be, and it does look like a bit of a cheap moulding on those bogies. But that all said, this is a hobby model, so it is at a price point which is wallet friendly, and as such I think this is a fantastic model for that. This particular OBB livery is very simple, but I quite like that. But you can get this in various other liveries, and some of that has more elaborate decoration on the side. But for me, I think this paint job is really good. There's also a Deutsche Bahn version of this, which is very similar, and their two locomotives look almost identical apart from the logos. And for me, the OBB one is the special one. So would I recommend this model to you? I think if you're modelling modern European railways, this is definitely one that you should pick up. It's such a characterful locomotive, and it's very common across Europe these days. There's a lot of different options and colour schemes that you can choose from, not just this OBB one, and therefore I think it's a great model to have, so I would definitely recommend this to you. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you thought about my analysis of this model in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up as well. It really helps this channel grow, and you can subscribe for more videos about model railways and even real railways as well on my channel on YouTube. I'll put this on the turntable so you can see all the way around, but that's it for today. See you next time.